Now, we spoke to her 2 weeks ago when she was hoping to go well at the European Indoors in Glasgow, and she certainly has. Ciara Mageean, bronze medalist in the 1500 metres. You're there, hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, how are you?
Great, how are you? Congrats.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm all good.
I can feel the smile coming through. You're still in good form. You're enjoying the last 48 hours or so?
I am indeed. I just landed down in Belfast and have been with my mummy and my little sister for most of the day now. Well, since 1 o'clock I landed. So so I'm enjoying it and looking forward to getting back down to Portaferry.
Great. Were they there in Glasgow, or did you just meet them at the airport?
I just met them at the airport. My boyfriend and my little brother Brendan were up in Glasgow, so it was nice to have them there.
Yeah, there's nothing like seeing mum when you've done something good.
Yeah. Never come off and get a big hug.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great that you're enjoying it, because these days, as you know better than most of us, don't come around very often. We had Mark English on yesterday, and he was just saying the same thing, that he's trying to make a point of enjoying it and not just kind of, parking the achievement straight away, like allowing a few days to really enjoy the fact that at European level you were a bronze medalist, which is a massive deal.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Sometimes you kind of have to get back to business straight away and just stay completely focused on training and everything like that. And obviously you do, I was back out training today, but
right.
You have to make the most of these things, because, they come around they're few and very far between quite often whenever it comes to major medals in athletics. It's quite hard to be medaling. It's tough up at the top, and I'm definitely not going to take it for granted. I'm looking forward to getting down and seeing my daddy and my grand and my uncles and my aunties in Portaferry and having a nice wee celebration. I had a good night after the race and have a bit of a downtime now. Not too much, I'm still training, but no major sessions this week. Okay. And then it's back to Pards next week. So, making the most of it this week and coming back home to Ireland. Yeah,
great. I know you said after your race that you were keeping a close eye on Mark English, and there is a sense of team, even though it's an individual sport, there is a sense of team about Team Ireland when you go to these events. Do the team go out for a few drinks on the Sunday night, or have people gone home at that stage, or how does all that work?
So some people had went home, and some of our team are actually quite young. So we have quite a lot of junior athletes in the team, or younger athletes anyway. So some of them had a team night, and a few of them went to McDonald's. And then one of the girls was feeling a wee bit unwell, so they watched a movie with her.
Right.
Mark, I went to there's a wee after party, so I met Mark there, and we had a wee drink, and there was a good few Irish knocking about there, and then we headed to a bar where there was a few Irish people at after. So a lot of the team didn't go, and it's probably because they're younger, and me and Mark are old people to them now. But hopefully, I tried to get a bit of a sing song going after, and nobody was having it. Nobody else wanted to sing Fields of Athenry with me, so I had to just do it on my own when I got back to him.
So it was very interesting speaking to you about a fortnight ago, just after you'd gone very well in Athlone in the Grand Prix and you were in good form, and you were talking generally about your tactical approach to races, and you were saying that often when you've run your best, you have started off relatively slow or calmly, or certainly not, been tempted to join the front runners in a race and then kicked for home later on. That was certainly what you seemed to do in the final.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I chatted to Steve, my coach, before, and we discussed what way I would like to race, and we looked at how I raced the heats and how I felt after the heats, because I didn't feel so great after the first round, and discussed what way we would like to race the final. And obviously, having discussed with other people as well, you can't plan out a definite way to run a race. There's a whole other bunch of other girls in the race, so it's not entirely up to you. But yeah, I knew what type of race I would run the strongest off. And I was like, okay, I'm going to play to my strengths. So I was like, I don't need to be up in the front, arging and barging and pushing the pace and feeling uncomfortable. It's like, bide my time and come through strong, and it worked. So it's something that works for me. But I think as I get stronger as an athlete, then I'll be maybe more comfortable being further up the field and pushing a pace.
Yeah.
But with the field that was there, I think the person that was always going to be dictating the pace is going to be Laura Muir. She's kind of in a class of her own right now in the women's 1500. So if I was going to go and push the pace, she was always going to be able to match that, whereas I knew that I have a kick at the end, and I'll try my best to be there with that. So you kind of have to be tactical with it, and I ran a good race to my best strength.
That's interesting, because actually the next question I was going to ask was whether or not Laura Muir basically setting the pace and leading from start to finish, whether when you see the clear favourite, effectively, which is what she is. If when you see the clear favourite up top and setting the pace, does that put doubt in your mind? Do you feel like, oh, I better be pretty close to where she is? But you've kind of answered that question already, that you knew if I go and challenge her to set the pace, she's going to be able to stay with me, no problem. So it would have been a fool's errand.
Yeah, like you have to look at it, and the time that she's run so far, I'm not there just yet, and it's the type of thing that you have to just acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And I take my hat off to her. She's running absolutely fantastic at the minute. So I'm like, yeah, I can't cope. I won't be able to go and run a low 4 minutes right now. I will eventually, and I will soon, but not right now. So I knew that I was kind of like, okay, if it goes out hard, well, grand, because I can run with all the rest of the girls in this field, and I'm stronger than them. And I was like, I know I'll challenge that. And I think Laura had a hard race in the 3K. She'd already raced the 15 heat, and then this is 15 final. So, and she has a lot of pace in her kick too. So I was quite happy with the way the race went.
Yeah.
But yeah, like whenever I see her up leading, if she had went out a bit harder, I would have went, fine, grand. I'll just have to run a little bit harder from here as well. So yeah, you kind of just watch it. Whenever you're a little bit further in the pack, you just make sure you're watching the front so that somebody doesn't get a jump on you, and then it's too much of a gap to make up. So you just have to be alert as you're racing, and just make sure that you cover any gaps that happen. Just don't do it too abruptly. You can expend a lot of energy and build a lot of lactate if you just burst really quickly.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, I just was like, stay calm, relax. I've got 1,500 metres, and I know I'm strong, and I'll come through. So yeah, I'm glad that it worked and I got away with a medal.
Yeah, it certainly did. For people who didn't see the race, if we're painting a picture that you sat back the whole way, certainly with 2 laps to go, you did make a bit of a kick, and you were in a really good position. You were on the shoulder of the Polish runner Sofia Enoy. Mm-hmm. And then last lap, we saw the kick, and you went by her with maybe, it's hard to tell sometimes indoor, but about 150, 200 metres to go, you went by her, and it was, I mean, it was a race to the finish line on the home straight, you and her. How were you feeling at that stage? Were you kind of hanging on with all you had? Did you feel that she was going to come again once you'd gone past her? What were your thoughts in that final, say, 100, 150 metres?
Oh, I was like, I'm going to throw everything at this. Absolutely everything. So I was like, right, I'm going to come strong. Now she tried to push me out on the bend so that I wouldn't be able to come by, and I was like, no, I'm going to try to kick. I'm going to try to go and stay strong. And look, fair play to Sophia anyway. She came back at me and got me for the silver medal, put me back into bronze. But that was a good hard battle up that home straight. I haven't yet watched back on the race, because I know that whenever I look at it, I'm going to be a little bit annoyed, and I'll be like, on another day with that, be a different story. And sometimes you finish the race and you're like, I could have just ran a little bit faster, could I? But like, I finished that race and I had given it absolutely everything, and I tried to time it all the way it would work for me. And like, some days you come away with first, some days second, some days third, and another day that could have been a 6th place finish. Yeah. But fair play to your, hats off to her to give me a good sprint up the end, and she fought back. So yeah, that was the race that was in it.
Yeah, as a brief aside, actually, we were all a bit annoyed watching it, because clearly the BBC director in Glasgow is far more interested in Laura Muir. So when she crosses the finishing line, they're all zooming in on her and getting the glory shots of her. And it was only like right at the death that we realised that you'd been pipped, actually. So when you see it, you'll kind of see, you won't get the full shot of it, but I guess you'll be able to see it. I mean, there was nothing in it, and she did pretty well to come back. You can't, sometimes, as you said, sometimes you probably do just have to hold your hand up and say, do you know what? She finished really well there, and I'll come again. The 1,500 metres is a bit ridiculous at the moment in terms of the quality there, like not just Laura Muir I'm talking about.
Oh, goodness, no. I'm not saying this because it's my race and not as the race I race. I definitely think the women's 1,500 metres is one of the toughest races in athletics at the moment. Athletics kind of goes through some points when there's somebody particularly good at this and somebody, but like women's 1,500 metres in Europe right now is red hot. Like, so the top 6 in the world are all European right now, and that's a huge testament to how the sport's going, and an awful lot of those girls are British as well. Like the top 1,500 metre runners right now a lot of them are the Brits, and that's good. It shows us that we can be there too, and it shows me that there's no difference between me and them. And I do believe it's one of the hardest races on the circuit, and you could say at one time you'd be like, oh God, like why am a 1,500 metre runner born into an era of particularly strong 1,500 metre runners? But isn't it great to be up there mixing it with the best in the world and being one of the best in the world? And that's what you compete in sport for.
Yeah, and the strength of the European field must give you encouragement when you move on to a global stage as well. How did you spend the day of the final? Were you pretty chilled out? Because it's quite a long day. You were running prime time, given the fact it was on in Glasgow. So are you just kind of chilling out in your room all day? Or are you getting itchy feet? Do you get out for a walk? Or how do you build up for a final?
So final day, I was up to racing at 12 minutes past 8, so it's quite a long day whenever you wake up. So I woke up at 8:30, I did a shakeout, and then had some breakfast. And once the breakfast was over, had a shower. I had actually arranged to meet my coach and Anna for a wee chat. So Anna's my teammate, so I met Steve and Anna for a coffee down in a Cafe Nero that was in a little quiet spot and nobody else seemed to find, and chatted about my tactics for the race, just chilled. And Steve has a really nice ethos, like a happy, relaxed athlete. He'll be a fast athlete, so he just spends his little time making an idiot out of himself and trying to make me and Anna laugh. And I chilled with them. Then my boyfriend Thomas came and we all just chatted, and I stayed relaxed, went back and had my lunch, had a little bit of a nap, and then started getting ready for the evening. So yeah, you kind of just try to pass the time. I wouldn't say that I'm relaxed on final day. I'm never relaxed when I'm racing. Anybody who knows me knows I'm actually quite a nervous person, and I'm pretty nervous on race day. So yeah, the butterflies start slowly emerging, and eating food is particularly hard. I don't enjoy eating on race day, and I could probably go the whole day without a bit of food, even though I'd be hungry. So I try to force some food in me and get ready for the race. And you kind of are just counting down and waiting for the warm-up to start, because once the warm-up starts, then at least you're doing something and you're actually progressing towards it. But it was great to be able to watch Mark race right before I went and warmed up for my race. And once you get out on the track, you're like, hey, this is the business end, and it'll all be over in 4 minutes and 9 seconds.
Yeah, it's the mad thing. That sounds like an ideal day, because if you're too nervous, you're going to lose energy, I'm sure, across the day. And at the same time, probably the bit of adrenaline is good as well. I'm not quite following it, but David Gillick is often handing you a sick bag. Are you getting sick after your races, or what's going on here? Is this literal? Are you actually puking?
Yeah, anybody who knows me knows that that's something that happens after I run. I give my all on the track. I often end up throwing up after. It's not a nice thing. It's not a great thing, but it just seems to be the way my body reacts. I'll run myself so hard that once I stop, and maybe that lactate keeps building a little, my stomach just doesn't like that. Sorry, I also have a cough now after the indoors. It does that to you too. And poor Dave, being TV, is always the person that I see first. So he's straight there, and he's got the camera, and I'm usually on the verge of throwing up. So he's got a bit of grief in the past for interviewing me while I'm like clearly getting paler and paler and slowly starting to gag a little. And I did see before on Twitter people saying, "Oh God, could he leave that poor girl be?" And I'm like, he's only doing his job. And, I'm quite used to this, that this is relatively normal. And he's used to it too, being an athlete. So, yeah, it's a running joke that he always has some tissues and tries to have a sick bag ready for me. But look, that's the way it is whenever you walk off the track after having put everything out there. Yeah, your body sometimes tries to retaliate to you and make you feel bad.
Okay, interesting. Because I was never quite sure if, when you're speaking to David, you had just puked or you were about to. But that's good to know.
It's probably a combination.
Yeah. And I presume you don't get sick beforehand with nerves or anything like that. Some athletes do, but you're okay. It's actually just a physical thing. Beforehand, don't get me wrong, I could feel a little nauseous with the nerves, but thankfully I've never thrown up before a race. But no, it's just after a really hard race, my tummy just doesn't like it very much, and I often try to escape as quick as I can. But come championships, you don't get the chance to do that, and you have to actually sit and chat to somebody. So it's pretty hard. I presume you're getting lots of nice messages from different people.
Yes, I've had my phone hasn't stopped, and I feel really bad because I'm slowly trying to make my way through. I raced so late on the Sunday. And then I had the medal ceremony, and then I had to rush back because we were having a team meeting. I didn't get to look at my phone and barely phoned my parents to chat to them. And then went and got a shower, and we went to the banquet. So I kind of didn't have any time to sit down and flick through it. And then I was chatting with my little brother and my boyfriend after. And then the next day I got up and I did a run. And I didn't have a rest day, but I got up and I had breakfast and met Steve. So then once I'm in the car, I can't message either. So I'm literally waiting for a minute where I sit on the sofa and I just flick through and thank everybody, because I've been overwhelmed by all the support. It's absolutely fantastic, and hearing messages from people all over the world, it's brilliant. It's fantastic what sport does. Yeah,
well, it's well deserved, and it helped. Like it does make an amazing difference when this stuff is on terrestrial TV. Prime time, I definitely got a sense a huge amount of people were watching, and it was really good coverage as well, and it's great. And you could see, Jerry Kiernan, who you were saying, we talked a couple of weeks ago, and you say what an impact he's had in your career, obviously, and he's obviously very happy for you back in studio. So it was just a really brilliant night of athletics, 2 medals. So I think it did make a real impact. I won't keep any more of your time, because I'm sure you're absolutely up the walls and you want to go and see your family. Congratulations again. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, well done. We were all delighted for you. So congrats, Ciara.
Thanks a million, and thanks for having me on again.
No worries. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck.
All the best. Cheerio.